Thank you.
Congressman Devin Nunes from California has just released his blueprint for the country's energy future, and nuclear energy is a big part of the plan. Congressman Nunes joins us now from Fresno. Congressman, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Gerri.
It's great to have you here. I do have to ask you, I'm going to get to your plan in just a second, but you had some comments about the coverage of this disaster by the media. I want to read one of your statements and get you to react to it. You said, "I'm highly disappointed with the media's sensational coverage of the nuclear emergency in Japan. The victims of the earthquake and resulting tsunami, they deserve better." What did you mean by that?
Gerri, every time you turn on the TV, you see a mushroom cloud coming up, a plume of smoke coming up from the reactors, which was a hydrogen explosion. It was not a radioactive leak. And you have all of these comparisons to Chernobyl. Neither are true, neither are close to the truth. And the more that they put this sensationalism up on television, the more and more people you're going to have that are going out and buying potassium iodine pills, which right now, today, there's a report out I just read where 7 people have already reported being sick from taking potassium iodine pills. Well, so stop buying the iodine pills. People are overreacting right now.
Congressman, I'd put our coverage up here at Fox with anybody. I'm proud of what we've done, and I should say that one of our anchors has been one of the first people to say, do not buy those pills. Because they can be dangerous. So I understand your concerns, but I think we here at Fox have done a very good job. Let's get to your roadmap, though.
Well, I would never be critical of you, Gerri. You know that.
Devin, you're really charming. You know that. I want to talk about your roadmap, though, because this is really interesting. You are calling for building, I believe, 200 nuclear reactors, and we haven't been able to get a single new one approved for 40 years. How are you going to get that done?
Well, the legislation basically mandates it. So that is where we have to go in this country. With 200 new reactors, if we want to be able to compete with India and China, if we want to offer cheap, abundant electricity that's clean, this is where we have to go. The Secretary of Energy was just saying it earlier. We have not built a new reactor in over 30 years. So the new generation of reactors, the ones that are actually under construction right now in Georgia, wouldn't even have this problem. They don't even operate the way that they wouldn't be vulnerable to a tsunami like this. So we are falling behind because we're not constructing new nuclear plants. And I actually think the opposite. A lot of folks think that this is going to be the end of the nuclear renaissance. I think perhaps this could be the beginning of the renaissance, because if no one dies and no one gets sick, people are going to realize that, oh my gosh, maybe nuclear power is in fact safe.
Well, we've got a long way to go before we know the answers to those questions. And of course, one of the problems is whether the public accepts it or not. It's always the NIMBY problem, regardless of what congressmen want to do. President Obama calling for spending $36 billion for nuclear energy. You support that?
Well, look, I don't think, actually in the bill that we put forward, if you can streamline the regulations and get some sense into how we deploy these new plants out. But the problem has been we have been mired in lawsuits and rules and regulations that the private sector is not even willing to invest money into the nuclear energy, into new nuclear power plants anymore. And so in our legislation that we have in the roadmap for the energy future for America, what we call for is actually a streamlining of regulations that most folks in the industry say, yeah, if you got these regulations out of the way, we would come up with cookie-cutter plants with safety in place, and we could build these quickly and cheaper.
Congressman, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming in. Great speaking with you.